Hello and welcome to this 14th edition of Living Off the Grid in the City with your host again, Hector Vladimir. Today is 26th of October 2015.
Edited and updated April 23rd, 2024.
And today's show I'd like to take a break from discussing some of the technologies that will enable you to get rid of the current energy grid system, which is abusive, it is unfair, and monopolistic.
I would like to
discuss a few items that I believe to be very important to the discussion, and they are the few challenges that face most of us that are trying to attempt to get off the grid. A few technical challenges, which are not too many, but there are a few major ones that could easily
be showstoppers or
discourage anyone attempts to get off the grid.
Using battery-based alternative energies.
They are how to cover your 1. AC or air heat in your home, 2. refrigeration, 3. washing and drying clothes, and 4. appliances that require a 24/7 or steady on state, or electronics that require to be on at all times, which even though they may not draw a lot of amperage or energy, it does add up over time, and they do draw a lot of power over time, over a month, 2 months, 1 year period. So those are
only 4 of the
technical challenges, I call them, that could discourage and dismay anyone that may be trying to get off the grid. And this is mainly talking about the power side of getting off the grid, the energy consumption side. Those challenges are challenges because there's a lot of energy requirement going into each one of those areas, each one of those categories there, services, items. For example, your air heat or air cooling requires a lot of energy. Sometimes a lot of watts are drawn to start up such systems. A large amount of amperage is required, therefore requiring a large battery bank or a large supply of energy, which may sit outside of the power grid, which could be a technical challenge. For example, a air conditioner could require up to 10,000 watts of energy to get started. For a larger home, to supply 10,000 watts of energy at any given point during the day and night requires some heavy-duty equipment. I will not attempt to disguise the fact. It is a reality. This equipment is expensive. This equipment could be challenging to install, challenging to maintain, and could be a showstopper when it comes to getting off the grid and staying off the grid. Same thing for washing
and
drying, refrigeration, and what I call steady on electronics. All these items require either large amount of energy being available for starting, or a good amount of energy available at any given point during the day for those items to stay on continuously. And before I delve into some of the things that could be done to mitigate or to offset these challenges, I want to discuss what these steady on equipment are. Steady on equipment are any kind of appliance, electronics, or device that needs to stay on at all times. I highly recommend anyone, if at all possible, to stay away from such devices, such equipment, or use such equipment only on a part-time basis. Some of these equipment include alarm systems, television, set-top boxes that are on even though the light's not on. Most of them nowadays, the digital ones especially, they are on, downloading, taking information, processing information, recording, doing software changes in the background. These are operations that you do not notice or see. They are in fact taking place. This is something I know because of experience. I have worked for a television entertainment
company.
I want to get off the grid 100%, and I have to make some investments for such a leap, such a big feat. So the steady on equipment, alarm systems, systems that monitor your home, camera systems, or CCTV, closed circuit TV systems,
smart speakers, baby monitors, modems and routers, PCs and computers, doorbell cameras, satellite TV equipment, space dehumidifiers, space or air purifiers, some types of lamps, sometimes called lava lamps, and
there are others, but those are the more popular ones. Television systems and security systems. Those items require a steady supply of energy. And if you are off the grid and depending on a battery system,
especially lead acid based batteries,
those systems will drain your energy supplies rather quick, and they may leave you unable to cover some of the other
more critical and
more demanding appliances, electronics, etc. To begin with some of the things you can do to combat these challenges, I'd like to start with AC, air conditioning for cooling. Air conditioning is important in many areas of the world, especially those areas where temperature extremes occur. Here in the pleasant southeast United States, there are very few days and weeks where there are temperature extremes. When I say temperature extremes,
I am
talking on the hot side over
35 degrees Celsius, 95 degrees Fahrenheit.
And for the cold side, below
3 degrees Celsius or about 38 degrees Fahrenheit
during the day or night. Those are, for the most part, considered by any
reasonable
person temperature extremes for human comfort. In the event of those temperature extremes, of course, we very much depend on air conditioning, whether for cooling or heating. Air conditioning takes a large amount of energy, probably one of the most energy demanding
appliances
in your home. Thus, if you are planning to get off the grid, it would require a large amount of energy, thus a large amount of equipment and investment to maintain. For example, as I mentioned earlier,
an air conditioning unit
could take up to 10,000 watts or 10 kilowatts to get started, and some of them take that much to stay on for the time that they are on. 10,000 watts of energy will burn through
a conventional lead acid
battery bank rather quickly if that's the only thing you have. And if you don't have a way to resupply that battery bank, for example during a long night or a day with no sunshine, you are bound to run out of energy. Attempting to supply 10,000 watts of energy with anything, even with a generator, is quite costly, as I mentioned in the last show. So what to do in this situation? Well, the first thing you can do is to reconsider the size of your air conditioning unit. Do you really need the size of air conditioning you currently have or plan to have? Do you really need a air conditioning for your whole home, even though you probably only use about 2 to 3 rooms out of a, let's say,
7-room
home? When I say room, I'm not talking just about bedrooms. I'm talking about living room, office, den, loft. Every room that's got at least 3 walls to it within the house, every area with at least 3 walls is considered a room. So if you're only inhabiting about 2 to 3 rooms in a home that may have about 7 to 10 rooms, there is a massive amount of energy being wasted. Even though central air conditioning systems are the most popular ones out there, they are in fact highly wasteful because they are cooling or heating a whole home at any one moment, when only a fraction of that home may be being used at any one moment. So reconsider the size of your air conditioning. Do you really need such big size air conditioner that requires all that energy? Consider purchasing an air conditioner that is high efficiency, or HE. A lot of them are manufactured nowadays and sold along with the standard efficiency air conditioners,
such as window AC units or ultra efficient AC units such as the Mitsubishi Mr. Slim. Alternatively, you may opt to get low voltage direct current AC units such as 12 volt or 24 volt units. You may opt to use 12 volt AC units that are personal sized units, and these can be also built using very available components. Look for plans online. There are a few options to choose from.
Much smaller units could be purchased. They could save you up to half of the energy required to get them going and keep them going, which is quite significant if you're trying to cover that power with alternative energies. So reconsider the size of your air conditioner or air heater. That's the first thing you can do. Second, reconsider having a central AC altogether. Do you really need that central AC to cool or heat your whole home? Or do you only need to cool or heat a few of the rooms in the house? This may be a little bit of a challenge, quite expensive to
perform
on a one-time basis, but it may be worth it. Reroute, close off ducts, vents, and have your AC only cool or heat whichever rooms need the cooling or heating. Do you really need to keep a storage room cool or a garage cool or hot for that matter? Do you really need many of the rooms in the house to be air conditioned? You may not. You can also, once you do that and reroute the air conditioning to those rooms that you really do need, those that the temperature adjusted, then move the thermostat to that room so that the thermostat picks up that temperature differential and shuts off the air conditioning when it's not needed. Third thing to do is to attempt to be a little more tolerant of temperatures. Do you really need to be at
25 degrees in your home when it's only 3 degrees outside, or
80 degrees
Fahrenheit
in your home when it's 38
Fahrenheit
outside? Live the season a little more. Enjoy the season. Feel a little different throughout the year. You don't have to feel at that 78 degrees
Fahrenheit
temperature year round in your home. It could be a little cooler in the winter, a little warmer in the summer. It need not be so comfortable. Your body is able to adjust, acclimatize to a very wide range of temperatures, and you can feel quite comfortable at
8 degrees or
45 degrees, 50 degrees
Fahrenheit,
depending on the humidity level. This is something that is known, very established, to where you can acclimatize to a wide range. Given that you're a healthy person of moderate health, you can very much acclimatize to a low temperature in the winter and high temperature in the summer. I dare to say that from 45 degrees
Fahrenheit
and up, you can acclimatize in dry weather to about 95 degrees
Fahrenheit
in dry weather. Most people prefer not to live within an area that's at those extremes, but those extremes would be quite rare if your home is built and insulated correctly. You should not be at 45 degrees
Fahrenheit
inside of a home, even if it's 30 degrees outside
Fahrenheit.
If your home is correctly insulated and it does use renewable energy such as just basic sunlight during the day. A home should be able to warm up enough during the day with some sun, even on a cold day during cold weather. It should be able to warm enough to stay comfortable throughout the night. Of course, a well-built, well-insulated home. If your home is not well-built or insulated, then if you want to get off the grid and do it within a reasonable cost, then you may have some work to do. Again, you should stay well above 55 degrees
Fahrenheit
in the winter and the coldest of days or nights, and well below 85 degrees in the hottest of summers. Again, this is with a well-ventilated, well-constructed and insulated home. So there goes the fourth way to combat the challenge of cooling and heating. Home insulation, home ventilation. Another way is to use, as I mentioned, sunlight during the day with the use of large windows facing the winter sun. If a home is well designed, it will take advantage of that winter sun and let plenty of sunshine in while keeping the heat inside of the house, not letting it ventilate out, getting somewhat of a greenhouse effect going there for your home in the winter. And in the summer, that well-designed home would take advantage of the breeze, would take advantage of shade, and would be able to reflect enough sunlight to keep the house cool and comfortable, even in the hottest of summers. And I'm talking mainly here for the northern hemisphere, specifically in the Americas. I understand many parts of the world have very different climates and weather conditions.
Hello?
But even for those, it is very possible to adjust and to modify your home or build your home in a way that you minimize the energy needed for air heating. One option is to, within the same lines of downsizing, you can go to the extreme If you are able, willing, and have the means to do so, you can go to the extreme and get rid of cooling and heating. Get rid of cooling and heating. That's basically the best way to lower your energy consumption from cooling and heating. I mean, definitely you will lower it. If you live in a comfortable area of the world, whether it's comfortable weather, comfortable climate, the climate range is from 60 to 85
Fahrenheit.
You should have no problem doing this. If you live outside of the very comfortable climate areas into the moderate climates, then it may be a bit harder to do such thing. You may have to go attempting to lower your energy consumption by downsizing, by modifying your home, and by being efficient in distributing cooling and heating throughout your home. Again, a good way to lower your energy use for air heat, air conditioning, cooling is just to get rid of it. Again, it's going to be quite difficult to do that if you're in a less than moderate temperatures or climate area, but it is definitely a possibility. Next challenge for anyone trying to get off the grid is going to be your water heat. The water heat is usually the biggest energy consumer in most homes, in temperate zones, in areas where the weather does get chilly and cold. Water heat is usually a feature that most homes have and most people rather have. It is highly convenient to have some type of water heat. There are various types of water heaters. Electric water heaters are probably the most popular now. They have not always been, but they are now. And this is, in my view, somewhat unfortunate, since other fuels for water heat are much more efficient, like natural gas or even liquid propane. You can mitigate the high energy consumption of electric water heaters by, again, downsizing. Consider the current size of the water heater you have and consider downsizing if at all possible. Do you really need that 60 to 80 gallon water heater? Can you do away with a 30 to 40 gallon water heater? Also, lower the temperature. You do not have to be able to skin a pig with the water heat coming so hot out of your faucet or spigot. It is sufficient just to feel some warmth in your water. It does not have to burn your hand and you're having to adjust it with cool water so you can use it. That's just a waste of energy. You don't have to cook with it. Cooking is done for the most part with water that's heated up in your stove, range, or microwave. It does not have to be boiling. So adjust your water heater temperature accordingly. In my experience, I have seen a lot of water heaters that you cannot adjust below 100 degrees. And this is quite shameful because water temperature at about 90 degrees or so, it is more often than not comfortable enough. That's one way to offset this very great challenge of using energy for water heating. Consider switching your energy source from electric to other types such as liquid propane or natural gas. I know with natural gas you will have to switch from the energy company to the gas company. Sometimes it may be more to pay the gas company than your electric company for your water heat, but it is one way to begin to get off the grid, especially if you go with LP. The LP is probably more of an independent power source because you can safely store it in a tank. You can buy cheap when LP gas is cheaper, store it and use it as needed. You can buy a larger tank so you don't have to buy liquid propane as often. And you could be in a lot more control of your energy use and expenditures by using liquid propane for your water heat. Even if it's just as expensive to use liquid propane as it is to use electrical, at least you have the independence part taken care of. Maintain control. Maintaining control is a huge advantage in getting off the grid. It is something we strive for, and it is a major reason for all the pains and inconveniences that may accompany getting off the grid. Independence and control. Again, you do not want to just hand away your family's and your future, your friends' future, and your own fate when it comes to using energy.
If, for example,
the power company chose not to provide you with the service, with energy,
for
whatever reason, there goes your ability to use energy. You do not want to hand over your ability to use energy to any one entity that may or may not have your best interest in mind. That is something that is just irrational, to hand over that power to another entity outside of your inner circles. Another way to mitigate the challenge of using energy for water heating is to, of course, use less water heat. Take shorter showers. Don't use as much water for washing. Have higher efficiency washing machines, dishwashers, etc. Ration your water use, especially your hot water use. Another way to mitigate that is to basically have your water heater on timers. It doesn't have to be an automatic timer. You can be the timer and shut off your water heater when not in use, when it won't be in use for the next at least 3 to 8 hours. Meaning that if you're going to bed, there is really no need to have that water heater on. Shut it off. It won't hurt it one bit for it to be shut off, and turn it back on when you're ready to use it. Usually people don't take a shower the minute they get up. Make it a habit. I would recommend to the first thing you do when you get up is to switch on that water heater. You can get a bit fancier and put it on a automatic switch to where your water heater shuts off during periods of no use and switches on during periods of use. Simple as that. It doesn't take too much investment. Only if you know anything about electricity, a few safely performed connections with a automatic switch timer, or you can just hire a qualified person to do the connections for you. It is a one-time investment that you make for your own good, for the better of everyone. Save energy, lower your hot water use, and consider downsizing, and also consider switching energy sources to more independent and alternative energy sources. Lastly, this probably is a bit more costly, but you can also purchase or invest in a solar water heater. If you live in an area where sun is plentiful, this can be a very attractive option. Solar water heaters work with sunlight, and they work quite well in areas where there's a lot of sun. They can keep the water warm even during cooler days and even overnight, and the only drawback to those being the initial cost. Cost for those could be somewhat elevated, and the setup could be a bit complicated and require skillful installers. Yet another option that I want to discuss is considering a tankless water heater. Even if it's electric, a tankless water heater will save energy in the long run, although they use higher amounts of energy,
although for shorter periods,
than conventional water heaters to heat up the water as the water passes through it, because that's the concept of it. It doesn't store water, it heats up the water on demand as you use it. So that requires a very powerful element heater that draws a large amount of amperage while the water is running. The advantage of it being is that it doesn't have to keep a tank full of water warm, 40 plus gallons, ready for your use at all times. It heats up the water only when you need it, and that could save power over the long run. Or you can also have one installed that works with liquid propane or natural gas, which is an even better option in my view, and it is an option that is probably going to cost about the same
than installing an electric one.
They have many quality tankless water heaters that you can take advantage of, and I do recommend those as an alternative or as a mitigating action for the challenge of covering your water heater energy with alternative fuel sources
for
getting off the grid. Another thing I wanted to discuss is the use of steady-on equipment, how to cover those with alternative energies. Same concept of limit the use of those, limit power required by them, limit the size and amount of such equipment if at all possible, and have those also timed. There is really rarely a need for those to be on all the time. Even if it's a security system, there are many times during the day where people are home, the owners are home, and there need not be as high security monitoring as when people are not home. So you can have a switched manual or automatic switching the system on and off to where It's on when you're out of the house and off when you are in the house, if at all possible, or if this is something you can live with. Again, watch for the efficiency of the system. You can check how much voltage or power the system draws. And this is before you purchase. Go with the higher energy efficient system. There's not much you can do about power sources for those
systems.
They're all pretty much electric, so they will use electric power. Just attempt to lower the use of those, keep those as efficient as possible. You can have those running straight from your solar energy equipment if you have that, or a wind energy system. Of course, having batteries as their power source and storage system. Again, to limit the draw on the battery bank, about the only thing you can do is limit the use and make sure the efficiency is high. Washing and drying is another challenge for those attempting to get off the grid. We do not need to go back to hand washing or washing by mechanical means. You can remain in modern society and be off the grid. You can, again, downsize. You may not need that double loader or quad load washing machine. You may be able to buy a compact washing machine that is energy efficient. You may be able to get rid of your washing machine altogether and do laundry elsewhere. It may be an option. Do laundry at a laundromat. It may be even cheaper. But if not, consider
downsizing laundry equipment. Another thing you can do is to limit the amount of times that you do laundry. There are some creative ways of doing this, but one that comes to mind is to wear your clothes a bit longer before you wash them. Also,
use clothes for certain tasks, such as for exercising, yard work, or any kind of work outside. Try to use clothes
that are specifically for those tasks.
Keep them for those tasks, and that way, one, you don't have to wash your
exercising clothes. You can get a few uses out of them before you have to wash them. Hello?
And especially during cooler days, cooler seasons, there is no need really to wash clothes every time you use them.
You
can dry your clothes either outside, hang them inside. They will dry also.
Hello?
Inside of your home, albeit taking a bit longer. And you can also
attempt to,
if at all possible, switch your energy source for your dryer.
Hello?
Dryers can be bought which use either natural gas or liquid propane as their fuel source, their source of heat. And in my experience, they do save a lot more energy than regular electric clothes dryer.
Okay.
I myself switched from an electric clothes dryer to a gas LP clothes dryer, and I would not go back.
Okay.
The energy savings are so much more.
Wow.
And it's just another thing I don't have to worry about. I want to cover with alternative energy source, which is mainly solar.
Wow.
That would take a whole lot of solar panels and batteries to cover drying.
Hello?
Because any type of heat producing appliance will take lots of energy to run.
Hello?
Especially with alternative energies.
Hello?
The last thing I wanted to discuss is refrigeration.
Hello?
Refrigeration is very important for keeping food and other things cold, cool, and edible. So your refrigerator is constantly running for most people. Again, you can use the same concept of attempting to downsize, use less, and having energy efficient equipment for your refrigeration.
Hello?
Attempt to buy either a small one refrigerator or a high efficient refrigerator. Consider downsizing. Do you really need to store as much food as you think you do?
Okay.
Think long and hard about this. And don't buy as much food to keep refrigerated as you may think you need to.
Okay.
Because in reality, a lot of food is just sitting there, not even being used on a regular basis. So you may be able to just not buy such foods so often. Buy a smaller amount of foods. Keep a smaller amount of goods in your refrigerator. That way you don't have to use as much energy. You don't need as much space. Keep your freezer as full as possible. That way it doesn't work as hard.
Uh-huh.
I usually keep a couple of bags of ice in my freezer. That way, as I understand, your freezer doesn't have to work as hard.
Uh-huh.
The frozen ice in there acts as a buffer to keep the temperature cool and keep the energy consumption as low as possible.
Okay.
that's probably going to be about it
Wow.
of what I will discuss tonight. I do appreciate everyone's attention out there about everything dealing with getting off the grid.
Wow.
Again, when I say off the grid, in my view, it's mostly the energy consumption grid.
Hello?
The energy and the utility services grid. Keep working, keep struggling, and keep attempting to get off this grid.
Hello? Hello? Thank you for listening to this podcast. Please look for the next episode soon, and please ensure to share this with your friends and family. And please like this content and subscribe as a sign of support and for me to continue to provide this type of content to more people like you. Lastly, if you wish to support this content further, please visit the links provided in this publication. Thank you.